fundamental J. Abrahamisms, what I stand for. So one thing I stand for is what's called the three-way to grow a business model. Most people spend all their time focused on trying to build the first-time buyer, the client. It's time-consuming. It's costly if you do it the traditional way through advertising, knocking on doors, cold calling, trying to build. Once you get a buyer, there are three interesting dynamics to it. One, if it's ethical, and in real estate, you have to decide if you're preeminent. It may or may not be. It's easy in most businesses, nobly and honorably, to increase the size of the transaction. Secondly, it's usually easy in most industries, and probably in real estate too, to increase either the frequency or the utility value. Frequency means the number of times they can do business with you. Utility value can mean the number of relationships they can introduce you to, the number of referrals they can do. If I had time, and I do normally 3 to 5 days, I would do a model, and I'd show you that if you had a mere 10% increase across the board in the number of clients, the size of the transaction, the frequency or utility, it's not 10%, it goes like 33%. When you start multiplying the performance of those, it produces geometric yield. One of the things that comes with the concept of three ways to grow a business is understanding the marginal net worth or the lifetime value of a prospect, a client, and different types of buyers. Different types of buyers are worth different things. I'll give you 3 good examples. I got started when I was very young, and we sold a product that's now in drugstores, but it was a mail order product called Icy Hot. Icy Hot's an analgesic balm for arthritis and bursitis. When we started, we were doing $20,000 and had no money. And we looked at the buying history of a buyer, and we were shocked because about 80% of the people that bought, rebought again every month for life until they died or they had a cure for arthritis or bursitis. We were selling it for $3. It cost us 45 cents. We had a margin, I'm going fast, of about $2 and what would it be, 55 cents? We had no money. But we also saw that the average person repurchased before the end of the first month. So when we understood that every time we got 10 buyers, 8 of them bought every month for a year for life at $3, that's 8 times 3, $24 for every $30 worth of 10 first sales. We went to radio stations and television stations, and we offered them 100% of the first sale if they would just give us the name quickly so we could fulfill. They thought we were crazy, but when we understood the value that if we could have given, if we had the cash flow, $10, $20, because every time we spent X, we were accruing $30 for 80% of every buyer every year till they died, and that didn't count the upgrades of all the other products we sell. I had a client one time that was in the business of fluid transmission. They sold PVC pipe that transports chemicals in manufacturing, water and irrigation, and syrup in beverages. And they wanted a breakthrough, and they had no money. They had 5 or 6 salespeople. And I sat down, I said, okay, let's look at the lifetime value. And they said, what do you mean? I said, well, let's look at the average type of buyer, worst case, that comes in. How much are they worth to you? If you don't know what they're worth, you don't know how much time, effort, money you can spend on them or invest. And he said, I don't know. So I gave him a formula. They went back, came back. It turned out, worst case, the average new buyer was worth, just look at profit, $200 profit. The average new buyer bought 5 times a year. The average new buyer lasted 3 years. So 5 transactions, $200, 3 years is $3,000 worth of profit. Are you with me? So I said, okay, what are you paying your salespeople? They were paying the salespeople 10% of the profit. And I said, well, I'm going to ask a weird question, but I'm going to venture money that almost none of your salespeople have opened up many new accounts. And he said, no, they haven't. I said, it's because a new account's worth $20 to them. It's not motivating. I said, I'm going to give you a strategy you're going to laugh about, but if you do this, you're going to grow your business. He said, what is it? And I said, all you have to do is tell your salespeople, as long as they keep their level of performance at or above what it's been averaging for their territory, if they've been averaging $100,000 a month for their territory, as long as they don't go below that, every first-time new client they come in with, they can have 100% of the first-time profit. And these guys said, well, why would you want to give them $180 out of our pocket? I said, you're not. Every time you invest $180 you didn't have, you're going to get 90% of the $2,800 you will most certainly have. But you can't do that if you don't know what a different type of a buyer is worth. And if you get really into it very analytically and clinically, you will find that different kinds of prospects from different sources are worth different amounts. Different types of buyers are worth different amounts. If you're a realtor, you know, your horizon might be 5 years unless they're investors. If you're an investor, you might buy as often as you can turn your money, or you can syndicate more money. I don't know what you're all here for, but there's a lot more leverage in what you're doing, no matter what you're doing, if you understand the dynamics, the factors, and the forces you're dealing with.